Hello everybody. Today we are going to discuss the 10th chapter of your novel The Invisible Man. And the title of this chapter is Mr. Marvel's Visit to Iping. In the 9th chapter we discussed that the Invisible Man came across Mr. Marvel, Thomas Marvel. It was all unexpected, and first he had to make him believe that he was an invisible man, and he was just like any other person, solid with body and with all the natural needs. And after he was convinced, he asked him to help him to have clothes and food and his books and all the things. So now in the 10th chapter it is Mr. Marvel who is going to Iping. So after the Invisible Man's departure from the Iping, the situation got to normalcy, it came back to normalcy, though of course he had created a panic there. People were all afraid after that incidents happened in Iping. He showed his invisibility to all the people there, and people went helter-skelter. They were all shocked because this had never happened earlier. Nobody had seen an invisible man earlier. But as it was beyond their understanding, signs and such kind of things which was not tangible to their eyes, it was something beyond their comprehension, and so soon they forgot all those things, and it became normal again, though a bit of uneasiness was there in people's hearts and minds. But now all wanted to enjoy the club festival. The Whit Monday was there, and Hasman's Meadow. There was Hasman's Meadow, and a beautiful tent had been erected there. So Mrs. Bunting and the other ladies were preparing tea in that tent, and the other people like Mrs. Curse and Segbird and some others, curate, they were outside and watching and guiding the children. The children were playing, they were having races and the other things, and there were some stalls as well, like the stalls of coconut shy. Now the stall of coconut shy means, just as in the fairs you have balloons and you have to burst them with the help of guns, same way there were coconut shies. Coconut put on some base, and those coconuts are to be say aimed at, and they are to be targeted, and they are to be dropped. So that was a kind of game they had put up there. There were swings as well, so people were all enjoying. And there were other people as well, like an old Fletcher, a person named Fletcher was there, and he was a serious kind of person who could be seen through his window painting the ceiling of his house. And there were some other who were gay, quite happy, putting on the bowler hat with a fashionable ribbon on that. So it means the situation was again almost normal. People were enjoying the festivities, and it was at this moment Mr. Huckster saw a man coming to Iping. So he came from the direction of the Downs. He turned at the church corner, came to Coach and Horses, and he was watching with a kind of reluctant alacrity, and that means a reluctant, unwilling eagerness and something like that. He was walking in that manner. Mr. Fletcher noticed that, Mr. Huckster also noticed that, and then with some in a furtive manner, in a very secret manner, he went to Coach and Horses. Then he it seemed as if he was quite struggling. He was struggling within himself whether to enter Coach and Horses or not, and finally he marched up the stairs, turned left and opened the door of the parlor. That means the invisible man's room. And as soon as he did that, there were sounds and shouts and cries to inform him of his error that he had committed, the mistake that he had committed. Mr. Hall's voice could be heard that that's a private room. So when he heard this, at once he closed the door, came out, down, went to the bar, and after some time Mr. Huckster saw him coming out or reappearing, wiping his lips with the back of his hand, and there was a feeling of satisfaction on his face. So Mr. Huckster also quite relaxed when he saw this, but then after that he moved up to the yard, and there he stood there for some time. The window there open, the back window open, window of the parlor open, and he then saw him just reclining against one of the gate posts, took out his pipe, and his hands were trembling, and he was enjoying that cigar, that pipe, but in between he would look up to the parlor, then here and there. So in this way he was standing there, and this seemed to be something fishy, something doubtful to Huckster, and he thought that it must be perhaps some petty thievery or some larceny or something like that. And then he shouted, "Thieves!" And after some time, what happened? He saw the man with a bundle of blue tablecloth, and something was tied in that. He had a bundle of books as well, and he was moving away. So watching him go, he shouted, "Stop thief, stop thief!" And suddenly what happened? They just came face to face, and when he saw Huckster there, he made sort of gasp. He was gasping and like panting, and he ran away. When he saw him, he ran away. Mr. Huckster also followed him, just shouting and calling, "Stop thief, stop thief!" And he went to the direction of the church and turned, and Mr. Huckster might have moved only 10 strides or taken just 10 strides or something like that, and suddenly then he fell. There's something caught his shin, and now he was not running. It seemed to him as if he was flying, and then the next moment his face was quite close to the ground. It was like perhaps the invisible man had caught him, and he was unable to move. The running Huckster was had now fallen down, and he was on the ground. So this is what happened in the 10th chapter. Marvel was gone with the things from the parlor, like the books and the other things that perhaps the invisible man wanted. So no other detail has been given in this chapter. What happened earlier, what happened before this has been given in the 11th chapter. It means the details that we must know, that why he went there and what was happening there and how it was all passed on to Mr. Marvel from the window. So to know all that detail, we must know the things mentioned in the 11th chapter. So definitely we'll discuss the 11th chapter in the next video. So for that, continue watching, keep watching. So till then, thank you very much.